Hey guys, Snipecrafter here, and today I am back with another episode of Anime versus Reality. Uh, let's just get right into it. I'm going to be continuing on with Guilty Crown. We're up to episode 12, where we last left off with the death of Guy in the anime, but we'll soon see that's not the last we'll see of him. And starting off in episode 12, we learned that apparently the giant crystalline structure on Tokyo Tower is actually all one singular void of a single girl's heart, which also created the phantasm of Roppongi Fort. And this girl was Mana Oma. As Guy bleeds out, she realizes he knew Guy from back before Lost Christmas even happened, asking who Guy really is. And Darth Gravekeeper, as Guy calls him, plans to sacrifice Inori to revive Mana. So Shu chases him down and causes a beam of light to go off when he touches the portal. That fails when Darth Gravekeeper just sends Shu away, just like he like sends him into his memories with a snap of his fingers. Just like, boom, you're gone. And now we get the ultimate flashback of this anime. Starting when Shu and Mana were kids, Mana showed Shu an ocean view from a cliff, but this particular day led them to find a young blonde boy who got nicknamed Tridon because he came from the sea, without knowing his real name was Guy. The three spent the summer together, which fell right before Lost Christmas, the last they would smile all together, all smile together. Shu and Guy became best friends, but none of this explains why Shu completely shut out of his mind. It's like, why would I forget this very thing? Suddenly, Shu comes back to the real world to Inori bound by a crystal vine. I've been very exact with my descriptions, because it is a crystal vine. With Kato ready to sacrifice her, and his feet bound by crystal. So, Shu's feet are bound by crystal, so he can't run. Kato says that Inori is an instance body that GHQ created to be able to communicate with Mana, who was the first one infected with the Apocalypse virus by touching the Apocalypse Rock, which is the rock that Kato stole. Oh, that one was building. Kaida's plan is to bring Mana back to life, to bring about a second Lost Christmas, but this time for the entire planet. It's like everyone. Darth keeps Shu from moving and explains that Kato plans to propose to Mana through Inori to become the progenitor of the next generation of humans. This mention of marriage triggers another memory of Mana, asking if Shu would be alone if she got married to someone, but not Tridon because of his adult eyes. Mana then confesses her feelings to Shu, which is awkward because they are brother and sister. It's like, oh, okay. Due to touching the rock, Mana's sweet, loving persona crumbles into a sadistic, possessive one over Tridon because she saved him, hell-bent on marrying Shu, which, ugh. While Shu is on his memory trip, Darth and Kato perform a blood ritual to connect Kato and Mana together through Inori. Shu finds himself released from his crystal binds, only to be face to face with the creepy eyes of Mana and hearing her voice. Ayase comes out at the last moment to save Shu once again. This time for a free lobotomy from Mana, like right through the eyeball, in fact. Also, Guy managed to survive. Like, Guy survived his attack thanks to the cancer cells protecting the vital organs. So, Guy is not dead yet. Somehow. Meanwhile, Makoto meets up with Haruka so she can hook him up with 4K footage of the battle that's about to go down. It's like, I need to watch this battle. I have to see it in 4K. Guy and the Ayase go on the offensive, so Shu has a chance to run, but Mana's all-seeing eyes spot him running, forcing Ayase to sacrifice Steiner to protect him. And, like, Sugumi pulling her out before the machine got destroyed. From the rock, 2 rings are forged, allowing Darth to complete the ritual, creating a connecting lifeline ring around Kado and Inori of, like, blood. Oh my gosh. Get out of my way. Guy's main focus right now is to get Shu to remember what happened right before Lost Christmas. How he asked Shu to come to a church in Roppongi to reveal the truth about Mana. Instead, Mana showed up at the church with the gift of a gun and 4 bullets to protect her, telling her to take a practice shot at a Christmas star. With Guy down with a bullet wound and Shu showing up on the scene, Mana presents Shu with a cat's cradle, asking him to take it. Shu pushes her away, which makes Mana unleash her power, catching the church on fire and destroying her own body. It's like, way too OP moment. That destroys her. Now that Shu understands the entire truth, both Guy and Shu know they have to get Mana's heart back and put it back to sleep. Shu simply uses his king's power to disintegrate Mana's void eyes and draws out Guy's void, a void manifester, which Guy shoots through Inori thanks to Shu distracting Mana. With Singer's blade out and ready to use, Shu wastes no time ruining the unholy ceremony in one strike, and Darth steps in to stop Kado in his tracks. Guy runs towards Mana, shooting away eyes, only to get pinned in place by her crystals, having to force Shu to stab Mana through him. At least Guy gets his wish of holding his special woman in his arms, which was Mana all along. Shu and Inori are left safely on the edge of the crater created by the destruction of the literal void structure, but Tokyo is now covered in void crystals. And I guess the void structure actually wasn't on Tokyo Tower. It was just created by Tokyo Tower. Like, it showed it was being drawn to Tokyo Tower, but we'll see later that it's actually still standing, which is weird. Thanks to all, moving into episode 13, thanks to all the void crystals covering Tokyo, the city is now under emergency quarantine, with the city center blockaded off and most forms of communication down. The students of Tenozu First High School have gathered at the school, unable to return home because they're outside the blockade. Shu thinks everything should be over with Kado defeated and his plan stopped. Ayase tries to pick up a soccer shoe off the ground, but instead falls out of a wheelchair, only to throw the shoe out of the frustration of doing the action in the first place. It's like, she is frustrated because she's doing such a menial thing to her, and not fighting. 2 creeps show up and try to help themselves to Ayase, going on about being friendly, but Shu tells them to stop. Then Sumi flies in out of nowhere to kick the long-haired creep into Shu. When the 2 creeps leave, Ayase tells Shu to leave himself, even though he's not trying to help. It's like, She doesn't look graceful when she does it. That's what she said. Leaving Ayase alone, Shu and Inori head to a meeting with those helping maintain supplies like vaccines and food for the school, just in case the quarantine lasts longer than planned. Harry wants to figure out a way of giving everyone a breather, and Sato comes up with the idea of doing a culture festival as a way to clear up negative energy in the school. Meanwhile, Chief Makoto wants to have some fun waiting for quarantine to end, but his new position doesn't allow for it. It's like, damn it, I have to just sit here and do nothing. Yahira and Shu talk about why Shu agreed to the festival and why Yahira is now able to hold his own void thanks to the previous fight. Shu thinks he won't be using his power anymore, unlike Yahiro, who thinks Shu will be using it again soon. Sugumi is excited for an animal cafe to be at the festival, already dressed in a maid outfit with cat ears and a cat tail. Sugumi a furry, confirmed? Or a cat girl at least. Sato's contribution to the festival is a live egotist concert, and Inori is up to try a live performance too. Daryan is also at the school to spy on the students, thinking something is wrong with them for throwing a festival in the middle of a quarantine. Sugumi runs into him with a lot of stuff and forces it upon him to carry to the animal cafe room. Then tries to force a candy apple on him, and it's like, no, I don't want that. Hare gets Ayase alone to thank her and Funeral Parlor for helping Shu grow as a person. Dara reports to Mikado that everyone being at the school and how they could just destroy the school, but Makoto tells him not to interfere. The Tenno Festival gets underway, much to the dismay of those outside the school not understanding the idea of positive energy in big groups. Thanks to Makoto stoking the flames of violence, the warm-hearted men group have the firepower to attack Tenozu High School with no trouble. Meanwhile, at the school, Ayase is upset with Sugumi for cutting her connection with Steiner, saying she could have lasted a little longer, wishing she died so Guy would be alive. She also gets snippy with Shu over Guy's death, even though he sacrificed himself for the greater good. The greater good. Sorry, I had to get a Hot Fuzz reference in there. The warm-hearted men suddenly crash the festival and shoot up the place. So Shu tries getting Ayase to safety, but she wants to stand on her own. So she does so by taking a void, which allows her to run fast and jump high, saving Hare from getting run over. Like, she literally gets, like, shoes that allow her to just be like full three-dimensional movement. Ayase directly takes on the Humvee by blinding them with a sheet, and Sugumi comes with a save with a net. She gets to Inori for her Singer's Blade and slices the end lathe down in one slice, and lands next to Ayase for a cheesy hero pose. The festival ends with Inori's live performance of Utope, which is like the most popular song of this anime for some reason. And Ayase is happy to be able to move like she did today. And finally, the TVs work again after these 2 weeks. Just in time for everyone to see Kaido report a lie of no survivors in the area within Loop 7 that weren't highly cancerous. With this lie in place, the provisional government and GHQ plan to cease rescue operations and seal the area for 10 years. Wow. Kaido is able to get away with this since becoming the newest president of Japan's provisional government. It's like him losing ended up with him getting a better position in life. What? How? Let's get into episode 14, and we're not gonna focus on the fact that he got a higher position because of that failure. Because episode 14 starts off with everyone panicking from the news, and Arisa's trying to keep them calm, saying she'll be hearing from her grandfather soon. Long hair creep starts freaking others out. Long hair starts freaking others out, but his friend is calm and says someone should go check out the Loop 7 wall. And if Arisa has no action, as for Article 32, Section 3 of the Student Council Charter, he files a no-confidence resolution against Arisa. Yahiro shows Sota that the internet is back, which happened out of nowhere with no explanation, just for the school. They discover everyone is targeting Arisa for her supposed lack of leadership skills, which Tsugumi agrees with. Okay. The creeps work on gathering as much info as possible about outside the school, as well as anyone that wants to leave the school, while also being ready to shoot Arisa if they have to. Tsugumi continues her coldness by asking if Inori has no family, and if she ever felt lonely, to which Inori answers the time she wasn't there, and she was cold. Inori returns the question to Tsumi, which causes her to get defensive in saying she doesn't get lonely because she's been living alone for a long time. Why are you asking me these questions? Tsugumi has a new tool for Shu to use. The genome resonance gauge as a gadget to measure the strength of voids. She had found it with the warm-hearted men after the attack. Testing it on everyone, the group discovers Inori's void is essentially immeasurable and Shu's void is unreadable. That's when they realize they don't know Tsugumi's void and force her to look at Shu as he grabs her void. It's like, no, what are you doing to me? Sort of thing. Over at GHQ, Kaido asks for a report and Rowan explains they have a mop-up team ready based on Kaido's strategy outline, planning to form a ring around them to basically kill everyone entering the blockade zone. Makoto has put together a new ghost unit, strategically placed in preparation for this plan, which Kaido has just enacted, turning whole crowds into Swiss cheese, and not the tasty kind, the bloody kind. And the ghost unit's operators operate from Tokyo Tower, thanks to Haruka herself. It's like, didn't she try to just run away from Makoto? How is she now working for Makoto? With the crowds dead, the walls start closing in to shrink the blockade zone, destroying everything that is present in its path to the ground. The news of this slaughter spreads quickly on the school internet, making the creeps question Arisa's action to do nothing again. Makoto asks Rowan if he knows what brought down Greece's ancient city-states, but Rowan majored in physics. So Makoto shares the answer of demagogy, which he's doing to Nazo High School by appealing to their desires and to prejudices. That's a hard word. Outside the blockade zone, Arisa's grandfather has taken in the other remaining members of Funeral Parlor. He wants to save survivors from the blockade zone with the help of Funeral Parlor. Makoto has decided to send the students into a... Okay, so we are really just jumping back and forth here. I apologize for that. My notes are basically following the anime. Makoto has decided to send the students into a frenzy with the false information of getting outside the wall by handing over Funeral Parlor members. With the election of the new school council's president coming up, Harry suggests that Shu should run for it, saying he could become king. It's like, it's president, not king. Harry, Shu, and Sugumi sees what's going to be the start of a witch hunt for Funeral Parlor members, and Yahiro lets her know what's going on, causing Shu to panic about where Inori and Ayase are. Inori is jumped by 3 guys, but she lies to Shu about not bumping into anyone because they're all dead. She just killed them all for confronting her, I guess. The creeps and 3 others surround her as Ayase in her wheelchair, but Ayase flips long-hair creep over and Sumi kicks the other creep down. However, long-hair creep stops Ayase's escape by grabbing her wheelchair, which causes her to fall out of the wheelchair, because if you want to take someone down that's stronger than you, even from a wheelchair, you take out the wheelchair from the equation. Arisa calls an emergency school meeting to announce that they mustn't be led astray by the false rumors, making the students hate her more. Glasses Creep states they want to hear how to avoid getting slaughtered, and that's by handing over Funeral Parlor members. Arisa says there's no Funeral Parlor members at the school, but Longhair Creeps reveals that they caught Ayase and Sugumi as said members. Someone mentions the back tattoo rumor, getting Longhair Creep excited to expose their backs on stage for everyone to see, because he's a creep. She decides to be ballsy and upfront, revealing that he's a part of Funeral Parlor and has an idea. This idea involves handing himself, Ayase, and Sugumi over to the government, with Longhair Creep getting the credit. All 4 are gunned down by the Enlaves, allowing Shu to reveal that they can't rely on the government. This plan was possible thanks to Sugumi's Void, which can create remote copies of anyone, which is probably the most insane ability to have. Being able to make copies of anyone that mimic their behavior, or perform the behavior you want them to perform. Glasses Creep doesn't believe what he's seeing and tries shooting Shu, but he swiftly uses Longhair Creep's Void to hit the gun out of Glasses Creep's hold. Shu states he wants a leader that will really think, trying to leave, but Yahiro stops him and convinces Shu to be the student council leader, saying he'll help Shu. Yahiro's first action to help Shu is to rank all the students from A to F based on the genomic resonance values, with Shu at the top. That's the end of episode 14 there, which is probably the most insane thing you could come up with for a plan. But we're gonna keep going. We're getting into episode number 15. And Hara shows how effective and strong her Void is, with one student getting turned on by her Void. It's literally a moment of that's hot. That's Another student laments how disappointing her Void is compared to Hara, but she reassures that Voids are not just about strength, but how useful they are. Shu and Kanon do a general Void exam, but they could go along with Yahiro's Void ranking plan, because of how he couldn't go along with the plan because of how unfair it would seem when a person is just reduced to a number. Although some people don't deserve to be called upon for their voids if they're going to cut in line and ask for more food, it's like, excuse me, like, we're not doing, like, this ranking is not supposed to allow, like, the top people to get more food or the lower people to get more food. Like, that's not how it works. And some voids do have unique uses, like Sota's void being used as a can opener, or Cannon's void being able to track where the red line is. And Shu notes that they haven't finished half the work on the plans to secure vaccine and ammo supplies / setting up a barricade. This allows Yahiro to chime in with the ranking system again, saying that people work twice as hard in a clear hierarchy. Which, yes, but do we really want this? Over dinner, Ayase and Sugumi also suggest following Yahiro's plan with the red line still on approach. And Sugumi notes that Shu doesn't want everyone to hate him, but Inori asks Shu directly what he wants to do, not anyone else, just him. After helping Ayase into the onsen bath, Hare and Sumi grill Ayase for the hot topic on Shu and Inori. Oh my gosh. But all she knows is that Inori could tell Shu was uncertain about the choice. Telling that Hare likes Shu, Sumi tells her outright to confess her feelings to him, considering the times they live in. Meanwhile, Shu tells Sota about Yahiro's void ranking plan and how he won't use it because, like Sota, he sees it as discrimination over distinction. So the two decide to start yelling stuff from the roof about how, like, Sota likes Nori and Shu is not cut out to be student council president. The next day, Shu arrives to a big problem. The school is running out of vaccines, which allows Yahiro to push the void ranking system harder, and with it ready to go, Sota in the lowest ranks of, like, rank F. It's like, wow. That's really fair. Shu doesn't want to use the void ranking system, throwing it away only for the rank Fs to find. With Sota leading the group to confront Shu, he asks Shu to draw out their voids so they can practice. The limited vaccine problem is just another plan of Makoto's to make students come out to them. Makoto mentions that when Longhair Creep showed up with Shu, Sumi, and Ayase, Daryl didn't shoot, using that as blackmail against Daryl. At the same time, Shibungi is playing chess against Makoto for a chance to see him. We don't know who this him is yet. Shu is struggling under the stress of being a leader, thinking about how he only thinks about what people want to hear. He bends so easily to other people's ideas, but Haru points out everyone's like that. But Shu can't be like that as a leader. Haru hugs him and points out his good qualities of how quiet he is and how he's not bossing people around. But to him, that's because he lacks confidence. The tender moment is ruined by a call from Canon to report that Sota and the rank Fs just left the school. And Shu catches up to them to tell them not to do something stupid, which they've already done, really, causing Sota to go off about being a rank F and that they're getting more vaccines to the schools to show they're not deserving of the lowest rank. Suddenly, they're attacked by the antibodies, causing the rank Fs to freak out and drop their voids, which they all just start going one by one. It's just like, ooh, that's why you're rank S. She tries distracting the helicopter so the other students can fall back to the school, but Sota is still Shu's bro, getting Haru to fix a car to save him. Daryl sees this and shoots the car, causing it to explode. But Shu saves her from the explosion at the last second. Yahiro drives the rest of the group out to Shu's position, proving himself to be the best driver at dodging missiles, so at least he has that front going for him. Like, if he's not useful in voids, he's useful in driving. While all the fighting goes down, Haru uses her bandages to heal Shu's burns and brings up a book called The Kind King, sacrificing her life for Shu to be able to save everyone. A helicopter shoots at Haru's void, which is like the most accurate shot in the anime somehow. And it causes it to break and causing her body to succumb to the apocalypse virus. With just one last chance to hold her body, she fully crystallizes and disappears, and breaking Shu so hard he goes into autopilot and wrecks house, destroying all three enclaves with ease. Yahiro breaks the news of Haru's death to everyone else, and Shu blames Sota for her death, literally punching the hell out of him for it. Shu, in lieu of what happened, decides to enact Yahiro's void-raking plan, done with kindness, and will become king. And with this going into place, we go into episode 16, where the members of Funeral Parlor prepare to send in Urugo via skydive into the blockade zone in order to break Arisa out of the blockade zone with the help from the leader of the Minghua group. Urugo just happens to land right next to a scuffle between Long Hair Creep and students of another school, conveniently with Long Hair Creep using his void weapon of electrified balls. Yes, he has electrified balls. And not that kind. Glasses Creep, or Number, as if this guy needs a name to be a character. Also conveniently reveals to Urugo's eavesdropping ears that Shu now has a secret service working for him. Man, Shu works fast. Urugo steps out to stop the creeps from assaulting a girl, when Miyabi with a void scythe and another girl with a void box cutter, like literal question mark on that one, approach from behind before noticing his funeral parlor emblem. Thanks to the emblem, Urugo is brought directly to the school and Shu by Ritsu Takarada and Miyabi Harikawa. And is surprised to learn Shu runs the entire school. The girl they brought from the scuffle actually has a higher resonance failure than they expected, so Shu comes down to draw out her void, which turns out to be a crossbow, which is, oh, that's a good weapon to get. It's like a upgraded bow and arrow. Urugo calls out to Shu and mentions the elaborate setup he has going, and Shu is directly to the point about the possibility of a new genomic weapon being introduced by the government. Asking about Arisa, Urugo explains he's under orders to bring Arisa out of the blockade zone, but with Shu busy, Yahiro says they'll need to walk and talk. Going out of the school to an abandoned army transport ship Shu's followers are scavenging ammo and vaccines from. Urugo notices that the students are symptomatic, but Ritsu reassures him that doing their work will get them their injections before they hit stage 2. Yahiro questions why the team are behind on quotas, but the questioning is interrupted by Sota being in trouble. The team goes to prepare a medical oxygen tank, but Shu tells them to stop, saying Sato's suit has an emergency tank and that he has to figure it out himself. However, Aruga jumps down to use the medical oxygen tank to save Sato. Shu steps down to threaten Aruga with Miyabi's void scythe, and mentions he's planning an escape from Tokyo. Shu also can't let Arisa go because of an exceptional void, asking Aruga to swear allegiance to him or else. Aruga turns him down, so Shu has him restrained and puts a watch on Arisa just in case, because you never know what's gonna happen. In his prison cell, Sugumi tells him what happened through one of her robots and how Ayase rushed to Shu to complain about Aruga being locked up for disobeying him. Shu gets a bit snarky with Ayase, quoting back at her, causing her to slap him. Luckily, no one is around to see this, because she would have been punished for it, no matter her rank S status. Shu was mainly able to gain this power thanks to the fear of everything going on around them, which is why void power is so important to Shu. Meanwhile, Darth has just found one of the rings from the failed ceremony and notice that Shu is collecting all of Mana's shards. Everything is going according to the plan of the government, all thanks to Shu gathering voids. Also, apparently everything Haruka is doing is to help to carry out Kurosa's wishes. Like, that's just tossed in there as a mention. Ow, my finger. Why is my finger hurting? Arisa is annoyed to find Glasses creep around to keep an eye on her, and promising he can protect her. But Arisa shows she can protect herself by putting a dagger to his throat. Kanan asks Yahiro if Hare really died from a new genomic weapon because there's a rumor on the internet that she died because her void got destroyed. Shu and Inori talk about how Shu is looking like a selfish tyrant, but he's not doing his actions to look popular, just so he can save everyone, so Hare didn't die for nothing. Aruga has managed to escape captivity, which ticks off Sumi, who had to tie up Ayase to stop her from acting so she doesn't get captured by the Secret Service. Speaking of the Secret Service, they're on high alert. Yahiro and Shu ordering others around, with Inori sent to look for Arisa. Aruga runs into two Secret Service girls who scream and let Shu know he's at the gym. Shu grabs Boomerang Girl's boomerang void in preparation to fight, ordering the Crossbow Girl to follow her, arming her with her crossbow void. Shu quickly loses the fight against Aruga, saying he liked Shu's old personality, but Shu shouts at him to try doing what he has to do, asking for ideas on how to keep everyone safe. Turns out that the boomerang void got lodged in the roof, which make metal. It brings down metal beams on them. And Shu manages to save the crossbow girl from the beams, but unluckily her void crossbow is destroyed by the beams, which turns her to void crystals, making Shu, Arisa, and someone else realize the truth. Shu gets angry at Yahiro for lying to him about the genomic weapon and how dangerous a kingdom centered around void usage is. Yahiro points out how they can't dismantle the current void ranking system because without it, everyone dies. However, with this new weapon, or with this new knowledge, Shu realizes he can literally control everyone's lives by threatening to break their voids. And to prevent Arisa from exposing the truth of voids, Inori shoots her. Or at least, it looks like it shoots her. Oguma wonders where Aruga and Arisa are, while the two groups are disappointed at failing the mission. With a last warning to leave Japan to Arisa's grandfather, Kato and Haruka are also ready with the next stage of their plan, and this is a big step in their plan, as we'll see in episode 17, which will be our last episode covered today. Another movement of the wall, like, we're starting off 17 with another, like, the wall getting even closer to the school, and it's practically right next to them with only about a week left. The observation slacks off for 1 second, which makes Shu freak out and order the Secret Service to take them to the disciplinary cells and threaten them with breaking their voice for disobeying. Yahira asks if Guy ever threatened his members into doing stuff he asked them to do, mentioning that Shu is going too far with the threats. Yes, Guy threatened him, which is hilarious to think about. Because now Shu's doing it to other people. The cycle continued with him. Shu says that Hara died because there was no discipline, and that the people who resent him probably shot Arisa, even though it was Inori, and lied to Shu about it. Arisa knows the real truth of Inori. She can control the apocalypse virus, and has the stigmata to prove it in her hand. She answers a call from a mysterious person, telling them about how the student body is on eggshells, and that Shu is keeping them in check with the king's power. Namba catches her in the act of the phone call, saying he can easily check the call history of her phone. So Arisa uses the only thing she has left, her void. Her void. Arisa tells Namba what happened, leaving him and Longhair Creep to reveal the truth to the student body, turning everyone against Shu. More cover-ups are being discovered by the UN about Kato. Kato preparing to act against him with their own plans. So everyone's making plans, everyone's attacking everyone. Yahira confronts Arisa about the rumor of if your void breaks, you die, and she asks if he's here to silence her for good, and reveals Inori was the one to stab her. Inori explains she was the one that probably... Inori explains to Shu that she was probably the one that hurt Arisa, thinking she was about to cause trouble for Shu. She's afraid of letting herself being a monster, but with Shu being king of the school, he'll never let anyone hurt her. Yahiro walks in and reveals that Inori actually did hurt Arisa, but Shu won't let her face disciplinary punishment. When Yahiro talks about special treatment, Shu fires back that Yahiro kept that void death secret from him. So, the two argue over if Yahiro is trying to help or not, with Yahiro learning power is important thanks to Jun, and Shu thinking he's going to betray him. Shu tells him to leave, that they're no longer friends, and Yahiro is now in the rank F tense. Namba returns to Riza with the information she asked for. The time of Exodus. Wait, why did I write the time and time of Exodus? Like the time and place of Exodus? Along with the info on the students' voids. Oh yeah, time and place of Exodus, yeah. With this information, Ariza will be able to perform a coup against Shu. The students are preparing to move to Tokyo Tower in groups for safety, but Ayase senses something is off. Ariza is preparing her coup amongst the students, making sure everyone is up to speed with her plan. Shu asks Namba what everyone thinks of him, and Namba lies to him about how they feel, but Shu seemingly doesn't believe him. Arizo is put alone in the truck with all the ammo for safety, knowing that the government knows about Shu's plan to move to Tokyo Tower. Duff has been doing his own work measuring the maximum value of the genomic resonance in Genozel, discovering the index variation is 281. The plan at Tokyo Tower is to use voids to electrify the entire tower to fry the machine controlling the ghost unit. Shu orders the students to go to their designated posts and hold back the defending insects, which are the new Enlaves, like Enlave 2.0. However, the plan is ruined by the insects attacking them out of nowhere, so the operation begins now. The students go down in battle, but the path is open for Shu for the plan, but instead he joins the fight to defend the remaining students before running to execute the plan, defeating many insects. Shu uses Ritsu's Void, which is a grappling hook, hell yeah, and another student's electrified blade to stab the core of Tokyo Tower and electrify it, stopping the insects and bringing down Tokyo Tower. With the insects gone, the students are able to cross under the wall of the blockade zone, but not before double-crossing Shu and Sota. Not before double-crossing Shu, and Sota actually, being the one to push him into the crater. Inori rushes down to be with Shu, only to get shot and summon her void, signaling the return of Guy. And Guy, you don't want to mess with Guy, because he will casually cut off your right hand, like he does to Shu, and steals the king's power for himself. Meanwhile, the UN votes on United Nations Resolution 17, which is the project to terminate Japan. The vote is an almost unanimous vote of yes, allowing the UN to proceed to dropping reactive material warheads on Japan. Guy says Shu was just a usurper, and that he's the real king. And that's the end of episode 17. We're going to end this podcast episode here today. We've gotten pretty good stuff. We've had the death of Guy, and we've had the resurrection of Guy, who has white hair at this point in the story. But for now, I'm going to end this episode. For YouTube, I'm going to end this episode here. Links will be in the description to both the channels and Twitch for you guys to go check out. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you know when next video comes out. A ding. I'm Sidecrafter. Sidecrafter out.